Hi, do you want to share your story with the world? Send your story to us and we will animate it and share it with the world. And don't forget to watch this video until the end.
Hello everyone, I'm Lucy, I'm 20 years old, and I hate drama. However, it seems like the thing you hate the most are the thing that would most likely happen to you. So, here's my story. I grew up in a small town in North Carolina and I was such a happy child. Until one day everything changed. My mother decided it's time for her to move out and pursue another career in another state. I mean, okay, why not? My mother was always the most hardworking person I know, and the sweetest one of them all. She's a professional and ambitious, she's beautiful and kind. She was seriously the most amazing person in my eyes. I told her that even though it will be so difficult for me to move to another city and leave my friends and school, but it's fine. I didn't want to stand on her way of achieving her dreams. She has always done her best to make me happy, so I should do the same. There was my surprise. My mother looked at me sadly. She lowered her head and mumbled some words I didn't get. I asked her to repeat what she said, and there was my shock. The ultimate shock of my life. My mom looked at me and said she cannot take me with her. She said that she's moving to another city, but I'm not. Do you know what's even worse than that? She said that I will be moving to my father's house and she has signed all the official papers for that. At the age of 15, and all of a sudden, my mom gives up my custody and now I need to live with my dad and his family. That was the first turning point of my life. My mom was the person I loved the most, but now she's the one I hate the most. She disappointed me so much. How can it be possible that people you love the most are the ones who hurt you the most? I couldn't stop myself from hating her and talking badly about her in front of my friends and teachers, but none of them seemed to care and to express any opinion. Okay, so this is what happened next. I moved to my dad's house, and surprisingly, he was so nice to me. It was the first time in my life that I see affection in his eyes. I was sure he's going to humiliate me in front of his other kids. But he didn't. He actually did the opposite. He didn't let Jason, his son, mistreat me. I couldn't understand any of this. But months passed by and my life was going back to normal. But I was so angry that my mother didn't call me, not even once. I started to suspect the whole situation. A person cannot change like that in a matter of a few days or months. So I decided to investigate the whole situation myself. I needed to know why my mom disappeared. I have blamed myself for months that I was the reason she couldn't achieve her goals and that's why she decided to continue her life without me. But that didn't make much sense to me. I mean, why now? I gave up on finding her after a few attempts. However, what I found out next was the other turning point in my life. On a Saturday morning, while I was still asleep, my phone rang. I looked at the screen and it was my mom's number. My heart jumped out of my body for a second. What? Is this a dream? Is it a reality? I picked up the phone so fast and said, "Mom." She said, "I love you. I'm sorry this is happening, but I cannot do this anymore. Please come see me in the local hospital now." I jumped out of my bed and without hesitating for a second, I rushed to the hospital to see my mother. She was attached to machines looking very weak and different. It was when I found out that my mother has been fighting cancer alone for several months now. I couldn't stop crying when I found out that she's wanted to protect me, and that's why she pretended to be moving out. All of this hit me that moment, and I felt so fragile. It was the last time I see my mom. I'm thankful I got to hug her for hours and hours. But now, years after that, the only advice I can give you is to never make any judgments without listening to others or learning the situation. Sometimes in life, people you love the most are the ones who hurt you the most because apparently they love you the most. Do you have anything to say about this story? Please share it in the comments below. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to our channel. Hi guys, my name is Sarah, I'm 13. I want to tell you about my dad, about his popularity and what is hidden behind it. My dad is quite young, he's 33. That is, I was born when he was only 20, so we always had a lot of common interests. I thought that we got along with each other very well and we had a mutual understanding. Dad wasn't just an excellent father and best friend to me, he even managed to compensate for the absence of my mother who left us shortly after I was born. Okay, I will tell you everything in detail. Dad used to work as an engineer in a construction company, but about 2 years ago he suddenly quit his job, sold his car, and left for India. As he said, he went there to recharge his batteries, leaving me with my paralyzed grandmother for an indefinite period. 3 months later, he turned a completely different person. He came back really cool looking. I had a feeling that my real father stayed there in India and instead some other guy who was eternally happy, having his head in the clouds and denying the existence of reality turned home. As soon as I began to get used to my father's new image, he did another shocking thing. He took out a loan to buy a luxurious villa. It was great in every aspect, except its extremely high price and inconvenient location, due to which it was considered unreasonable. I had no idea how Dad was going to buy back this loan, but he himself didn't really worry about this. All the money from the sale of our old apartment was used to pay off the first installments, and it was not clear what we would do next. There was a lot of concerns about the issue of money in our family. We were running out of savings and Dad didn't rush to get a new job. Instead, he created his YouTube channel, started filming pranks. His new hobby turned out to be very successful, and the number of subscribers on his channel began to grow quite quickly, but unfortunately, this didn't bring the desired income. We had barely enough money to pay utility bills, which were huge in our new house, and to buy groceries. But after a while, the number of subscribers on Dad's channel exceeded a million. Our financial conditions began to stabilize, and people began to recognize Dad on the street of the city, in the shops, cafes, banks, and at my school. So, with the fame of my father, my popularity at school began to grow as well. Being my friend became fashionable and cool. So everyone tried to be around me. I was invited to all parties, people to excel fees with me, even teachers began to be more tolerant towards me. Dad was becoming more and more fond of creating content for his channel. It seemed like his life turned into one continuous prank. He could throw insects into my meal knowing that I was very afraid of them. And after such pranks, I totally lost my appetite. Once the scenario of his pranks was especially sophisticated. He said that I won the poetry contest and I was invited to the award ceremony in the neighboring city. When I packed my suitcases and told everyone at school that I would be absent for several days, my father said that this was a prank. I was hoping for 2 days. In fact, I was even ashamed to go to school. I did not trust my dad anymore. I began to adopt his words. It seemed to me that there was something hidden behind his actions, and I was about to become a victim of another prank and an object for derision for millions of viewers. But my feelings didn't bother my dad. He continued to shoot new pranks. Also, I began to notice that we were short of money again. That confused that the function of monetization on YouTube wasn't available to him anymore. Due to the large number of complaints about content on social networks, the subscribers of that channel began to send angry messages to me. They believed that my dad was very wealthy and I had everything I wanted. When I tried to explain to someone that what they see on the screen is just a beautiful packaging of her life and they can't even imagine what I have to face every day, no one believed me. When someone at school asked me about my dad again, this began to drive me crazy. I couldn't and didn't want to hear about him, even at school. I was fed up with the nightmare into which he turned my life. One day I returned home from school and Dad said that my grandmother had a heart attack. She was taken to the hospital. I started to get ready to visit her, but my father decided to take a moment and then invited the journalists to her house. Because they had long wanted to make a report about him as one of the most successful prankers, he told me that I also had to stay to give an interview. It became clear to me that he wasn't the same person that I knew. There was no humanity left in him, and that all he cared about was his channel. When the report about our family was published, I received an email from an unknown woman. She wrote that she was my mother and wanted to meet me and talk to me. After much deliberation, I agreed. I wanted to see her, get acquainted with her, and asked why she left us. On the day we meet, I saw a beautiful woman in front of me. It turned out that I looked just like her. Mom cried a lot and told me the truth about my father. I learned that after my birth, my mother suffered from postpartum depression. And instead of supporting her, that sent her to a hospital for compulsory treatment, lying and saying she was dangerous to others. Soon, doctor realized that my mother was there by mistake, and she was discharged, but she couldn't find us, since while she was absent, my father and I, together with my grandfather, moved thousands of miles away. He changed our family name and cut all ties. She also said that during this time she didn't get remarried as she was trying to find me. I told her about our real life, and she decided to go to court. Of course, the audience supported my father, and he was acquitted. But the guardianship over me was transferred to my mother. I moved to live with her in the city where I was born. In fact, my father did not try to contact us. Now I live a more modest life and do not enjoy popularity, but I can say that my life has become much better. Do you know any cases when popularity has changed people for the worse? Share your stories in the comment. Thanks for listening and bye bye.